The Bauhaus was the brainchild of the late German architect and designer Walter Gropius. Many know that the building itself contrasted the complexity and chaos of the 1920s with a clarity and concentration. During the 20s, the now iconic Bauhaus stood as a symbol of innovation and existed as a disruptor of common ideas and philosophies about architecture, design, and creativity. The Bauhaus was considered to be a think tank and laboratory for experimental research on urgent design matters. In its workshops and studios, it was an experiment lab for the present with a view to the future.
Well, the Bauhaus influenced like everything almost. When I do tours, it's my part of what I do here at the Bauhaus. I show a chair by Marcel Breuer, which was done almost 100 years ago, and it's still modern. So the whole idea of the simple lines still has a great impact on many aspects of design and architecture.
Most modern buildings are kind of the Bauhaus style. You can see it all over. I think when you first look at the Bauhaus, even the Bauhaus building, it's kind of boring because you kind of know it from everywhere, but it's like the first. So that makes it very special.
Apple, basically, Bauhaus function. That is lead designers of Apple. They really used to talk about people like Dieter Rams or Walter Gropius, which are these two big guys when it comes to product design, which they were very influenced by while producing their first products like the iPod or so. And that's why those principles of the thoughts that were created here in the 20s are still relevant.
The Bauhaus style, so to say, I think it's kind of, we outgrew it a little bit. I think it's a nice relic, and it's a really nice how to put this anecdote. And but if you apply the Bauhaus style like as it were in the 1930s or whatever, then it's kind of boring, I guess. But I think the principles are still very much alive.
Can you define these principles for us?
You have the form follows function idea, then you keep it simple, that you use instead of working against the machines, you work with the machines.
I think we have moved away from that kind of. Right now it's all about consumer goods. We have so many products and also so many cheap products we throw away and then we buy new ones. And I think we could maybe get back to that idea a bit more, to also have really well designed and long lasting products, and then really choose what we want to have.
The Bauhaus is most known for making classic modernism and constructivism popular amongst working class citizens. The designs featured clean and clear lines structured in a way that facilitated lightness and ease of movement. The designs also often combine efficiency and functionality. Bauhaus designs embrace the minimalistic ideology that less is more and form should follow function. The Bauhaus is proof that simple mechanisms can work in design. But what about lifestyle? How we think and how we live? The Bauhaus in its infancy sought to produce work that would meet the requirements of a modern consumer market and industrial society, and that it did accomplish. The design culture and principles of the Bauhaus, much like the tangible building, continue to influence artistic and aesthetics of our contemporary world.
Yeah. So what I see is that if you want to have like good quality, long-lasting products, then they are gonna be expensive, and that's also what I see like in the Bauhaus shop, in the Bauhaus itself. So we have like all these minimalist products that are like really expensive and are completely going into the opposite direction of what the Bauhaus wanted to achieve, which was like mass-produced products for everyone, so anyone could afford these.
I think as a community we do think about that a lot, and one thing that I think that lacks is even companies that like promote it, but then they're just promoting it as a greenwashing concept. Because one thing which was brought up is like Apple really uses like the design influence of here, really minimalistic, form follows function. And this kind of goes in a different direction, but they have all these kind of design principles, but then it didn't translate over into lifestyle because I don't know how I'm going to try to make this connection, but it's like they also practice planned obsolescence, and they encourage you.
They release a new phone every single year.
And not only but they require you, I mean, it's 7 years out, but it's gonna be just literally a brick. And then they don't have any plan for like to back up their whole idea. So I don't think I think outside of university, this is probably the best place to practice sustainability, to think about it. But once you get out here, once you get into the job, you just do whatever they tell you to do.
Yeah.
And most times they're not gonna really, and I think that is gonna change. I think it's like a generational thing that's gonna slowly, like the CEOs now are gonna be more adapt to that because they're younger and they're not yet. I think it's changing, but I think it's slow.
You get basically told that every single semester you have to be sustainable. You have to look at what you do. And like when I started here, I was like, okay, I do want to kind of like do fashion or like print a shirt or so. And now I came to that realization where I'm just like, man, we have such a huge responsibility as designers, looking at the markets and the environments we create.
Yeah.
So I think I will never print a shirt or something like that, because printing a shirt or just like making clothes so that won't save the world, will actually make it probably the worst place. Like, you have to really consider what you do as a designer. And even in classes where I'm designing a new shelf, like you just seen today, like the world doesn't need a new shelf. You have to think if your work is purposeful. I feel like that's something that's like this big thing here in this university is it purposeful what you do? Yeah, the things you say and the things you do, it's kind of tough because in this, I feel like in this world, in this consumer market, it's so easily to just buy something. But this is something that has to be changed, and I feel like this is something that cannot be changed by the consumer. And I feel like this is part of the responsibilities we have as designers, especially when it comes to product design.